But let's go to our speakers. We have Justine Balane, who's Secretary General of Akbayan Youth from the Philippines. After him, we will have Iftita Sari, I apologize, researcher at the Institute of Criminal Justice Reform in Indonesia, and then Scott Johnson, Human Rights First, who's based in the UN. I forgot to mention that I'm logging in from Rome. Justine, the floor is yours for an update from your country. 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, Marco, David, for the invitation, and for my co-panel to be able to share this space with you, and for this opportunity to give updates on the human rights situation here in the Philippines. I'm here in my personal capacity, and my opinions are not necessarily shared by my organizations and individuals I'm affiliated with, unless otherwise stated. In 10 minutes, I will be talking about updates on the extrajudicial killings resulting from the violent war on drugs of President Duterte and the reaction of state actors on the ICC request for an investigation. And I will also touch on concerns on the domestic review by the Department of Justice. I, the categorical statement that I have on the killings is that it is as deadly and virulent as the pandemic. They remain widespread, systematic, and they are still ongoing. Even despite physical restrictions, it has not hampered the extrajudicial killings done by state forces and by unnamed and unknown assailants. In a study by the University of the Philippines and the University of Ghent released this year, they have documented around 186 deaths in the first quarter of the year 2021, which is equal to 2 deaths a day. So in their study, they have documented around a majority, or 137 of the killings reported for the first quarter, to be connected with the law enforcers such as the PNP, the Philippine National Police, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, and or the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And while 49 of the 186 reported killings were committed by unidentified assailants, we can mark that ever since 2016, ever since the violent campaign against drugs by the current administration has started, there have already been cases of unidentified assailants carrying out killings in the name of this violent drug war. And 96, or a little more than half of those killed, according to the report, were small-time pushers, highlighting the fact that this drug war is also a class warfare targeting small-time pushers, or even people caught in the wrong time and in the wrong place without solid proof that they are involved in the drug trade. And I think that the ICC request for probe, we pray, is a strain of hope and will put a stop to the systematic killings. So in June 14, the International Criminal Court has sought an investigation through the pretrial chamber on the alleged crimes against humanity committed by the President Duterte connected to his violent campaign against drugs. But it also sought an investigation into the killings in Davao City from 2011 to 2016. So these are times from when this is before the presidency of Duterte, because the ICC has found that there are similarities with the actors carrying out the campaign against drug war operations that are being investigated under the administration of President Duterte. This is something to watch because Prosecutor Bensouda has a perfect streak in her request for investigations, but also that her successor, Karim Khan, will take charge of the task. But we also note that there is no definite time plan for when the pretrial chamber will decide on the case, will decide on the request, and President Duterte's term will end next year in June. I will also bring forth some concerns on the domestic investigations, which is used as a defense against international mechanisms on accountability. So last year, the Department of Justice has announced that they have created a review panel in June 2020 on the killings carried out by state forces under the campaign against drugs. So late last year, the Department of Justice has stated that they finished a partial reinvestigation of the more than 5,000 deaths. But until now, there are 0 complaints or charges filed as a result of the review. So the DOJ, the Department of Justice, said just recently that it is difficult to file cases without a witness, but families of the victims of the killings have also said that they were not approached by the Department of Justice. And news reports also documented how the DOJ still has no concrete mechanisms for witnesses to come forward with their panel and their review. The Department of Justice has also said that the Commission on Human Rights would be involved as an independent monitoring body, but the Commission on Human Rights late last year have also said that the Department of Justice has yet to clarify its roles in the interagency panel, and that their requests and their correspondences to the agency were left unanswered. And this is important because the Commission on Human Rights is a constitutional body that is tasked to also investigate human rights abuses by state forces, and they are largely left out and excluded by this Department of Justice review panel. What is also concerning is that the domestic review by the Department of Justice appears to be influenced by President Duterte himself. In May, the Philippine National Police has stated that they are granting the Department of Justice access to the records of 61 investigations against policemen, against state forces. This is only 1% of the 7,884 deaths in official operations since 2016. But communications to the UN also show that there are claims from human rights groups and even the Commission on Human Rights that the number of deaths under the war on drugs could be as high as 27,000. But also following Duterte's statement on May 31, where he warned and cited national security concerns over the Philippine National Police's statement that it was shared data with the Department of Justice review panel, the Philippine National Police has changed their tune. They've said that they are reducing the data that they will share from 61 cases to 53 cases. Because even before Duterte's statement that he fears that there are national security concerns, the PNP said that they're open to sharing more cases than the 61 cases promised. This is serious as this erodes the credibility of the drug war review by the Department of Justice, which is their defense against calls for international human rights mechanisms and accountability mechanisms. Duterte's excuse on national security is flimsy because the Supreme Court itself has already said that it is simply ridiculous to claim that these information and documents on police operations against drug pushers involve national security matters because in the Philippine Constitution, these information and documents do not involve rebellion, invasion, terrorism, espionage, and infringement of sovereignty or sovereign rights, among other arguments raised by the Supreme Court. And so in 2019, the resolution of the Supreme Court is actually in favor of releasing the documents on the drug war killings to the petitioners. And I think the United Nations is correct in saying that the local domestic mechanisms have failed. The UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in June 2020 said that given the widespread and systematic nature of the alleged killings and the failure of domestic mechanisms to ensure accountability thus far, there have been strong calls for international accountability mechanisms. And I think that the latest update on Duterte's influence on the Department of Justice panel and the actions of the Philippine National Police erodes the credibility of the drug war review by the Department of Justice. Just a quick addition before my time ends. The Anti-Terror Act, which is a serious human rights concern and a dangerously broad legislation passed last year, it can also hamper human rights movements and investigations because the law which grants the Anti-Terrorism Council powers to designate people and groups as terrorists is widely feared to be targeting human rights groups. And right now, while it is widely assailed and popularly assailed, in the Supreme Court, there is still no temporary restraining order against the law, which means the Anti-Terrorism Council can still wield it against human rights groups. In summary, the killings continue. They are still systematic and they are still widespread. And the defense of the government that there is a domestic review and that they are willing and able to document the cases is seriously eroded, with latest developments showing that the Philippine president is still influencing these domestic investigations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justine, for the updates. I think it's very important also to have the latest developments and also the various implications and games that institutions are playing to block on the one hand or not to release publicly available or what should be publicly available information, but also I think the timing of the decisions of the Constitutional Court and other measures is also very, very important, and we need to keep an eye open on it. Thank you very much.